West Indies. We've been talking a lot about this for the past days and hours as well on Kyrie FM, this Solid Waste Management Corporation's panel discussion. The Solid Waste Management Corporation has engaged in a series of discussions. The corporation has engaged in a series of discussions aimed at educating the public, informing the public, and tonight it's a little different with members of the media, more specifically at the head table, persons representing the various media houses, and we look at the role of the media in solid waste management in Dominica. I think the Solid Waste Management Corporation needs to be commended for a wonderful job over the past several weeks, and we can say months, and tonight they are here again with another discussion. Thanks again to Olivia Williams Odeleke for allowing this broadcast to go through. Just a quick reminder that Live Your Life with Olivia will be aired at 9 o'clock right after this panel discussion tonight on the Genuine Sound of Dominica, Kyrie FM. So once again, we want to thank you so much, Olivia, and your team for allowing this broadcast to go through here from the University of the West Indies.
Okay. Good evening to everyone. We want to give God thanks and praise for other day. He has spared our life over the weekend and spared our land. And also, you have been very good to our sister island. So I have much to give God thanks. We welcome you to our panel discussion. This evening, we're going to look at the role of the media in waste management. As we continue our campaign, Be the Solution, Stop Pollution. That is very important for us as a corporation in our waste diversion and waste management theme. So this evening we welcome our panelists in the media houses, our listening audience, our moderator, Ms. Fernanda Frampton. We welcome you to our panel discussion this evening. Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, I want to give you thanks and give praise. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for your faithfulness. Thank you for your goodness. We pray, God, for every panelist and the moderator and the media houses are present, oh God. We commit them into your hand, and those who are absent likewise, oh God. We pray for them that you continue to grant them good success in their business, oh God, as they promote waste management and good news, oh God. So we pray, Heavenly Father, that will continue to see our media houses, oh God. We pray, Heavenly Father, that will enlarge their business, enlarge their course. We pray for good success for them. We pray, Heavenly Father, that we have a good night in this place. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen. Right now, I hand over to our moderator, Ms. Frampton.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by acknowledging Mr. Florian Mitchell, the General Manager of the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation, Ms. Rhoda St. John, who is the Public Relations Officer, and Mr. Jason Sorrendo, who is the Waste Division Officer. Members of the media, I see us in full effect here this evening. I have a list of the media expected to be present. I see Kyrie FM. So Kyrie FM, we're live on radio and on social media. Good evening to the listeners and viewers of Kyrie FM. Is Vibes Radio present this evening? Vibes Radio. Vibes, are we both on radio and social as well, or just radio? Just radio. So Vibes listeners, good evening. Q95 FM will join at 8 p.m. The Chronicle is also here this evening representing Emo News, Emmeline Anselm of Emo News, and Emo News has a rep here, and she's also covering this live. So good evening to your viewers, Emo. Dominica News Online, are we present this evening? Dominica News Online is present. The Sun newspaper is expected to be here. And also Digicel TV, I'm told, is expected to be here. We say good evening as well to all the listeners and all the viewers on the various media. GIS, how could I? GIS, good evening to you, GIS. GIS, are you live or are you recording? You're just recording to replay later on. Okay. Welcome, everyone. I must say that it is indeed a pleasure to be here this evening as the moderator for the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation panel discussion featuring members of the media. I believe that we all have come to recognize and appreciate the role that the media plays in disseminating information to the public. Although not fully employed in the media, I have had the most fulfilling experience during my years at DBS Radio, in particular in leading efforts in providing information to the public, whether through current affairs, news packages, production of programs, talk shows, and more. Without the media, there would be a major gap in information and knowledge sharing amongst our population, and this would not be to the advantage of our people. The media is extremely important to us, and we must always give them the credit they rightly deserve for the work that they do. Like everything else, there will be times that the media may not necessarily operate in a way that is to the liking of all. But generally, the media here in Dominica execute their duties well. Clap for that. This evening, we expect nothing less from the panel here to speak on the topic, the role of the media in helping raise awareness and educating the public on waste management. I will now go across to the panelists and ask them to introduce themselves here this evening. By the way, we are at the UE Center. We're using one of their rooms for this particular event here this evening. Members of the media, can we begin with the lady from MO News?
Good afternoon. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I am Shamara Benjamin, and I am the lead videographer at MO News, and it's a pleasure to be here this evening.
It is a pleasure to have you here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Aberly Jones Harriet. I am from the Chronicle newspaper. I am the assistant manager and editor.
It is nice to have you as well, Aberly.
Yes, good evening, everyone. It's nice to be here. I'm Martin Anthony Scotland. I'm really representing Kyrie FM. That's my favorite radio station in terms of I deal with sports connection and sometimes other commentaries on this radio. And also, as I've been also an ex-manager of Solid Waste Management Corporation, and also work as a chief environmental officer. So basically, I'm ideally public health. I'm a public health specialist. And I have quite a wealth of knowledge in this area of solid waste. I think it's good to be on the panel there representing the radio station.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Jordan Jerome. I have many caps, but tonight I will be expressing my thoughts as a member of all social media. I'm like that social media expert. I've been doing it for a long time. I do construct an educational show on social media, so I will be speaking throughout that platform tonight.
And what is the show called?
My show is called What's This?
What's This?
So we go around basically educating the public in various questions and so on.
Mm-hmm. I would have liked to see Curtis Matthew as part of the panel here this evening. I tried to see if I could get him to go to the table, but you know you don't get other things. You know, if he has to go run after Desmond Tutu, that's a different thing. But to get him to come here, it's a whole different conversation. But good evening again, everyone, and welcome. Let us hope that we're going to have a very productive time here this evening. The Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation has been undertaking a number of activities in terms of educating the public and sharing with the public. One of the most recent things they did was the Cleaner Mile, and you know, a company was very, very happy to participate in that. I think I got a little sunburn that day. That hasn't gone away as yet, but I think it was an excellent idea. I suspect it's going to continue every quarter, and I hope that more organizations are going to get on board and be part of that Clean a Mile campaign. What I liked that I should mention here is that when we came the next morning to begin, you know, getting ready to move off, there was a bag with trash bags, you know, bleach and a few other things and gloves. And I thought, you know, that was quite thoughtful. You didn't leave it to us to try to find our own material to use, our tools, if you want to say, for cleaning that day. But the tools were provided to us, and for that we were grateful. So good job. I thought it was very well organized, and I do hope that you continue to do this and that you come up with some other great ideas in terms of educating the public on waste management. So over to our panel. Welcome again, everyone. So first of all, I'm going to allow you an opportunity for 5 or even a few more, if you wish, to speak on the topic this evening. But I'm going to do something. I'm going to start with Mr. Scotland, because I suspect Mr. Scotland, being a former manager of solid waste, is pretty much well equipped to get things started this evening. Over to you, Mr. Scotland.
Thank you, moderator, for dropping that ball on me. In terms of solid waste, I heard you mentioned a number of media campaigns that have been held in Dominica over the years. And I can remember we had things like Adopt a Block, where you see these bins there, that the green bins that were given in Roseau for litter management. So we had also earlier in the 80s, we had a program where we run the responsibility for clean environment lies with you. That was actually promoted by the time by OD Brisbane and Sons. The flour mill in St. Louis to give us sponsorship for that. So right around Dominica, in that early ages, we already recognized Dominica as the nature island of Dominica and the importance of keeping it clean, pristine and clean. I must tell you that waste management, because I had some notes here, I also do some lecture at the State College, so I'm still equipped with some notes.
Yes, we're happy for that.
It's basically, if you're looking at solid waste management, it's the systematic administration of activities that provide for storage, collection, transportation, processing and treatment, and disposal of solid waste. So we have a number of factors you must take into consideration. How do we store waste? How do we collect that waste? How do we dispose the waste? How do we treat it? And in Dominica, I think one of our major issues has been the area of storage with the collection, the timing. And I see solid waste over the years, they have tried to use media in terms of getting people to know what is the day of collection to put out the garbage. And you're still finding that although this has been, ring bell on the radio, you still have somebody that will come in and put the garbage after the truck has passed. And it creates a nuisance in your environment. Now, what is solid waste? Solid waste means garbage, refuse, soil, or any other solid waste material resulting from industrial, commercial, and agricultural activities. It does not include silt, industrial effluents, or liquid waste. So when we hear about liquid waste, like excreta coming from humans, that is not solid waste. That is under liquid waste. So some people sometimes confuse solid waste with liquid waste. We need to look at, in terms of mass media, really, before I go to it, I want to look at the significance of solid waste. And they've said that if you are burning, contributing to dioxin, air pollution, and chemical causing cancer, allergies in your environment, because some people now, they want to burn the waste. This itself is a no-no. It creates serious problem in the environment. A lot of cancers, dioxins are emitted from the burning of the waste, particularly plastics, and it puts the health of the people in neighborhoods at risk. So again, the message has gone to people, do not burn this waste around people. Create problem to people. And the harborage and the proliferation of flies, cockroaches, rodents, mosquitoes, and you know if those guys are around you, you're going to have a lot of diseases being transmitted. Dengue, you'll have dengue, you have leptospirosis, you have things like chikungunya. So we have to find a way to prevent these vectors from breeding. And if you have a lot of waste in the environment, and the environment is not managed properly, that is where your issue is. It will promote all those vectors, and these vectors can spread diseases. They call them vector-borne diseases. Mass media refer to diverse arrangement of media. Media technologies which reach a large audience via mass communication. So when we talk about mass media, you have the different technologies. So we have radio, we have television, we have things like
you have social media.
My ex-media. Social media now is like a very effective tool or something in getting your message out early. But in terms of mass media, there are also other medias, because you can use like your song, your dance in your culture now to create that type of to send information in those areas. So like you have Bernard films talk about pick up rubbish, that clean the place, and so you have different songs that they make to promote the easier way to get the message to children, especially.
May I just interrupt for a moment? Is that something that has been done in the past in terms of maybe a catchy jingle or something for solid waste? Is that something that has done in your time? Has it been done?
There were some songs that were done by some of the schools. Like, I can't remember them, but Granby School especially, they had developed some songs, jingles, and they actually had designed what they call a sensei zori. They take all kind of waste and make a soot mask so that children could see how you can maybe recycle and reuse waste. But that is the type of thing that you have to get. How are you going to get the young generation involved in waste management and their interests? Because we run a number of some exhibitions, some matches. Because we had some matches where we use the primary school children, especially in the rural catchment, to really promote the idea of solid waste management and the importance of the environment. So that happened over the years already. So we have the broadcast media, we have digital media, we have internet. So internet media, where your emails and websites are coming in, is that in new areas that will catch on to the younger generation. I had some notes here on the concept of health education. Health education is concerned in changing knowledge, the feelings and behavior of people. It concentrates on developing strong minds and look at the attitude, the skills of people. So when we talk about health education, we have to find a way to get the information to people in a manner that they can understand it. There was also the practice. It concentrated, health education concentrated on developing such health practices as love to the best possible state of well-being. So in terms of health education, you have to find a way to get people to practice behaviors that will promote proper health, their health and the well-being of people. It aims to help people to achieve health by their own effort. So health education doesn't talk about you coming and doing things for people. You have to be able to get people to do things for themselves. They need to be able to stand up and they need to be able to store their garbage in containers that is sealed and put it out on the day that is requested by the corporation, and also to manage their environment in a way that it doesn't pose a risk to people. So the radio now, they all say radio messages can be developed in different forms to get that information out to the people doing health education.
And I suspect that when we get to that element, you will share with us some of the ideas or ways that the radio station that you represent can assist in doing some of what you just spoke to.
Yeah. So as you already there, because Kyrie FM, early in as a manager, actually we developed a program with Kyrie FM, the environmental management program, where we was promoting environmental health and the importance of a pristine environment. That was done on a weekly basis. Mm-hmm. I know how that thing is going on now, Steve. Also, Solid Waste also have a program there, almost on a weekly, every other Monday. So the Kyrie FM has been actually, we have been involved in promoting that concept of a pristine environment and the importance of environmental health. So we actually have a structured program where officers will go there on a weekly basis to give information to people.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's a lot more that can be done, hence the reason why we're here this evening. So, Mr. Scotland, we will come back to you. Some of the information I suspect that you have here, you will have the opportunity to share as we move along with the panel discussion. Okay. I really would you like to move along next?
Well, it is the responsibility of everyone to maintain our pristine island. We are the nature island. There is no other island like Dominica. I've been around here and there. There is nowhere like Dominica. So it is everybody's responsibility. And therefore, it's a responsibility from the same way we teach our kids how to walk and how to talk and how to write. Littering and taking care of the environment should be part of that as well. So the media does play its part in getting information out on a regular basis because every day we need reminders. So the media does play its part, and I think that is important, and I appreciate that we're here today to have this discussion because it is very heartbreaking when you drive around the island or you walk around the island and you see the state that we have our country in. We all say we're patriotic. We all say we love our island. But it's time that we stop just saying it and actually act on it. So, like even recently with the recent rains, after the gutters came down, the states of the roads and the side of the roads, it was a mess. And it breaks my heart when I pass through my Dominica and I see the state that we're keeping our island. So I think that it's important that we do have this discussion, that we do have the reminders, that we do put the protocols and actions and steps in place to execute these things to make sure that we do remain the pristine nature isle of the Caribbean.
Thank you so much, Aberly. And I'll move over to Jordan. Jordan, when Mr. Scotland spoke, he mentioned social media. I suspect in Mr. Scotland's time, we were primarily radio and print media. But, of course, the world has evolved technologically. And you, Jordan, are part of the social media craze. We know how impactful social media is. So talk to us on the topic and give us your introduction from a social media point of view as well.
Of course, Vidania, thank you very much. Let me just start by reading this short statement, right? It is the responsibility of every business to ensure that waste generated on their property that is disposed of on time. Now, it's very important that I wanted to start with this because the key line there is on time, like Mr. My colleague said. A lot of us in waste management is all about educating not just our, like you said, our youth, but also our adults that in business, right? As well as educating them about waste, it's educating them about how they can get even more educated and how they can pass out their information to educating the public as to waste management, right? I'm here to talk about social media. Social media, that's my place. That is my girl, right? And of course, social media can be spread out in many different areas. Right now, we have a lot of social media apps and applications going around. We have Facebook, we have YouTube, we have TikTok, we even have WhatsApp that everybody has on their phone right now. And the use of these applications is simply to send out messages to various people. Now, social media have a lot to learn from. There's a lot of tricks, there's a lot of hacks, you know, and passing the education of social media to empower the businesses to promote, as well as we can use to the waste management people to promote, right? Because what happens is a lot of people know that it's wrong to litter, but they have no idea why it's wrong. You know, so like when you have the importance with that, then you know that the real value of not littering. Let me give an example. The other day we were at the beach. It's very strange that we had a bottle of water and somebody was eating a mango, you know, and he wanted to throw the bottle of water in the rubbish bin, right? That he didn't want to litter. And while he was eating the mango, he threw the mango down. So I asked him, I thought you didn't want to litter. And I said, no, man, that biodegradable, man. That biodegradable. And it's education. Now, of course, he's right. He's right. It is going to degrade. Might be even good for the plants. You know, they want that. But it's the whole point of how it looks. That moment you throw it down. And if we don't express that education, then people will be like, well, okay, that can, you know, they're giving us biodegradable cups now, you can just throw that down, right? So we really have to stress out that education. Now, the fact is, how do we go about informing our public? How do we go about expressing all of this? Do we do this every week? Do we do this? No. I believe in campaigns. I believe in a lot of posting. I believe in a lot of content, what we call it. And content is really what social media is feed off on, right? And not just doing it, but doing it in what we call consistency. It has to be a fluent thing. Every year we have World Career Music Festival. Every year we have, hopefully, Girl in the Park. Right? And what I'm trying to stress out is when that time comes around, they have the set schedule as to when they're going to promote, how they're going to push it, what social media. They're going to use Kyrie, they're going to use DBS, they're going to use, you know, and how they're going to go about doing it. And the reason that these events are very successful is because they are always consistent as to the time that they promote those things. I think that's what we should focus on. It's about using social media because it's very powerful. Social media cannot just educate our public. It's also something that educate the entire world. You understand? And using it consistency, having that set schedule as to how we promote solid waste management. And what I believe is very important is not just coming here today and use social media. All of us go online, go on Facebook, go on whatever, YouTube. And tomorrow, YouTube's going to be like, okay, well, look, all you just posted that yesterday, but today all you're talking about the Prime Minister. Oh, what are you doing? You know, that's what social media is. They take it into consideration. They take it into a fact that how often are you going to be talking about this aspect that you want to deal with? How often are we going to deal with solid waste management? How often are we going to use it to educate the public about it? I know it's just a matter of our consistency. For example, let me just touch on it for just one social media. For YouTube, if you're using YouTube to promote solid waste management, YouTube says if you post a video today and you tell Ferdinand to say, hey, no littering in Roseau, right? And today is Monday. And next week Monday comes and you tell Ferdinand to talk about a beach party, then YouTube's gonna say, you guys are not consistent. I'm not gonna let Kyrie FM see that video. I'm not gonna let DBS see that video. I make DBS and Kyrie see all your solid waste video. But just because today is Monday again and you don't put the same content, then hey, you are not consistent. I am not bothered sharing your information out there. So we can promote as much as we can for years. If we are not consistent, it makes no sense. That's social media for you guys.
Thank you so much, Jordan. And I'm kind of happy that Jordan is here for the social media point of view and the representative of MO News as well. I mean, in fact, just recently, Jordan gave me some guidelines on my YouTube, so my YouTube channel. So feel free. You should engage
and
Jordan.
TikTok, don't forget.
And TikTok. You should engage. No joke, in about 5 minutes, I got some education on YouTube and TikTok that I had no clue on. So this is a resource that you can definitely engage to assist you in terms of the social media element. MO News is here, and the representative of MO News is going to share with us on the topic as well. I know that MO News is very consistent with covering just about anything that is available to cover. I always wonder how this young lady does it, but I'm happy that she now has team members that can support her in doing the things that she has been doing for country. Miss Benjamin.
Thank you. Well, when I thought of the topic, the role of media in education, I thought to myself, well, definitely, of course, the media plays a very significant role in educating the public. However, one of the things I thought of is how effective is the media being used? Because yes, we have our radio stations, yes, we have our social media platforms, but the question is, how effective are they being used? Are they being bombarded? Are we, is the public being bombarded with the education, with the information, with the public awareness that we need about solid waste management? And another thing I thought of is, when I was a child at primary school, I think, primary and secondary school, there was this campaign. We spoke about campaigns, but my campaign was Keep Dominica Clean and Green. And I'm very proud to say that I do not litter. I come to town, I buy food, I put my things in my bag, or I hold it in my hand until I walk around and I see a bin. And I am that way simply because of the Keep Dominica Clean and Green campaign. It stands out to me. I remember it. I remember when they came out and they had all of the signs, and then they had all of the fines attached to it and so forth. But I think back then they were effective in bombarding, because not only did you hear, and I remember there was a jingle which was very catchy. I don't remember it. I tried to remember it, but I remember there was a jingle with that campaign as well. So I think definitely the role of the media cannot be understated, but it is whether the media is being used effectively. And I think that's where we need to start, in addressing the effectiveness of whether it is the companies, whether it is solid waste, whether it is media ourselves. Because I also thought about that. What can we do, you know? I mean, coming up on our own and not waiting for solid waste to push something our way, but coming up with campaigns on our own. You know, I think that's a good place to start in really utilizing the media to our full potential.
Thank you very much. Now, if you noticed, all four panelists gave us different perspectives. And I think that is what we need this evening. We need to get the different perspectives. Not everybody coming here saying the same thing because you're a member of the media. So thank you for that. I think they deserve a round of applause for their opening remarks. Now, waste management is not and should not be the sole responsibility of the organization provided with the mantle to spearhead said subject matter. In fact, each one of us should play a role in managing waste in our country. This evening, we will focus on the role that you, the members of the media, can play in assisting the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation in educating the public and raising awareness on proper waste management. Every panelist, please prepare to answer this question. How do you view your role, considered to be extremely vital in educating the public on the subject matter of waste management? Now, in this context, you can speak about you and the media house, or you can choose to speak about the media house you represent. So who goes first? Did you take the mic first, Jordan? Would you like to go first? Go. Do you want the question again, or are you good?
You can go ahead and say it again.
How do you view your role, considered to be extremely vital in educating the public on the subject matter of waste management?
Okay. I do a show called What's This, like I said before, and it's considered a very educational show. And the objective of the show is to randomly walk on the streets anywhere in this country and pick out random people and educate them. That's it, on whatever the education is. My role I see vital in this waste management is finding those people in our villages, finding those people in our business places, and questioning them straight, direct. Or I'm like not making them feel prepared. I want to see I want to see the natural reaction. I want to see what they would think of straight off, and that to me is getting a feedback that's real. If I inform someone I'm coming, I believe they're gonna stage an answer for me. You know, and I don't like stage. I want to see the real people, right? And to find out those real responses, it's important to me to capture those people, ask them, and educate them at the same time on waste management. What I do is I take it and I put it on social media, so those people also learn and assist me into spreading out this awareness. That's my role, I feel.
That's how you see your role.
That's how I see
in terms of the social media.
Social media. So it's social media. It's every social media. So we're talking about blasting that on YouTube. We're talking about blasting that on Facebook. We're talking about blasting that on TikTok, and as well as WhatsApp and various social media. And
we'll do some more follow-ups with you on that particular point that you made as to your role and what it is that you think that you would do in a follow-up question.
Certainly.
Mr. Scotland, what do you think? How do you view your role, considered to be extremely vital in educating the public on waste management?
Okay. My role is like a twofold or threefold different roles I can play in it, because right now, as a consultant in public health, I can actually work in a radio station in delivering a consistent health education program on waste management in that medium. Because we need to have, as Jordan said, another piecemeal thing. You come one day and you stop, and then another 2-3 months again you come again. It's a consistent education program going on our media, and in terms of radio station or television, to get that message out to people. I see also another role as training people, as being a trainer, like so at the college where we actually train environmental health officers. They can come out now and also train community members how to manage and control their waste in a manner that is not a risk to public health. But the importance of training and to get that cadre of people into the schools, because we critically have to get to the young children, the school kids, primary school, preschool, secondary level. How do we infiltrate the syllabus in those areas to get that message in and get those people there actually you have resource persons that come in now to really inform them on the proper management of waste management.
Let me collaborate with you here a bit, reason with you. So you're speaking about primary schools, secondary schools. Are you saying that they should be incorporated, let's say, in the subject of integrated science, for example?
Yeah, because it's like we actually had developed a syllabus for this. I remember a syllabus was developed by UWI in terms of for environmental health. So it covered the whole spectrum of environmental health: food safety, vector control, solid waste, occupational health, to be infused in the primary school program.
Okay.
But I do think that I like really review that, because I think few islands really got it done that way. But that's another way to get the message at an early age, targeting every child supposed to know the importance of these things and how to manage their waste, and so that when they grow up with it, It now become part of your culture. It become habit. So the program, also the other program we're looking at, how do we use the media to inform the population on the laws with regards to waste management and the environment? Because Dominica, basically, I have a list of laws that we have there. Dominica Service Management Act 2002, Environmental Act of 1997, Lilisa Act of 1990, there's a Public Health Act of 1968, Forestry Act, Traffic Regulation, Physical Planning Act, and Occupational Health and Safety Act. So we have a number of acts that we have them on the books, and right now we can get them into social media. That maybe is a forum where we can get that information out to them. Piecemeal acts, piecemeal information. It is actually an offense for you to litter Dominica. In other words, it's under the act, really, it makes you a criminal, you know. It's a criminal offense to litter Dominica, you know.
But it could.
So you can be charged and confined for doing that work.
Right.
But a lot of the citizens doesn't know that. And if you get it's a big joke, well, you tell them they should be littered. You understand?
Then probably as part of their campaign, their education campaign, the Dominica Management Solid Waste Corporation probably needs to find a creative way that this message can be developed and shared, especially through the social media platforms in educating the public. Because if you just come on a program, for example, and you speak, the same usual people will listen. You know, the middle-aged people, the usual suspects will listen to the radio and those kinds of programs. But if your target is somebody, the youth, then you have to go where they are interested, where they are, which is mostly on the social media platforms. But again, you cannot come with the usual way. There must be some level of creativity in getting the message across, especially where the laws. Young people don't want to hear about laws, but if you bring it across to them in a creative way.
Yeah, creative way, but if they live, when they live Dominica and they go in other jurisdiction of the world, they have to follow laws. They don't want to hear about it, but if they leave Dominica, go on the other side there to the United States, you know laws. Canada, you can just come and take the people place.
But you know why
though?
You know why though, Mr. Scotland? Huh? Probably because our laws are not enforced.
That's what I'm telling you.
But they're enforced other places.
Yeah, the other places they will enforce them. So you have to, when you come there, as you board the plane and you step foot there in Canada, you know you're not supposed to litter. Automatically you fall in. So in Dominica, we have a situation in Dominica, we have a laissez-faire attitude, and we just figure out, well, boys, it's somewhat another person's job. Actually, some people will tell you, if I doesn't dirty drain, the person that clean drain don't have a job, you know. That's the concept.
Yes.
That's the concept.
That's the foolishness.
You understand? A drain is for the water to flow.
Yes,
so
yes.
the person sweeping the drain, they take out the grass, they take out the dirt. They did not rubbish, they tell you to put it in the drain. You understand? So we have to seriously our environment. I think sometimes we take it for a joke. Because we actually, Dominica, okay, talking about tourism, it's promoting tourism as one of the main economic pillars. And I don't think people want to come into a country and always see in their faces rubbish. They want to come to the country, you see the nature island of the Caribbean. It's looking beautiful, it's clean. And we have to do that for ourselves, not for tourists.
And it can be done. What Mr. Scotland is saying can be done because he referenced Canada. For those of you who've been to Canada, Canada is one of the cleanest countries that I've been to. And again, it probably has to be because the laws are enforced there. It does not mean that we cannot do the same. And the media, again, plays a role in communicating that and getting the message across.
Communicating health message, media is critical.
They're critical.
Because they have to get that information out to people. And as you say, creatively.
Creatively.
That's where your songs and your using the culture to get the information out. And my partner Jaden, you have a lot of work to do.
All right, Abrali, how do you see your role?
Well, my role is not as hip and up-to-date, you can say, as the social media guy over here. But with the newspaper, the Chronicle, we have our loyal readers. There's a lot of work that we are losing the art of reading. And it's not just read. I mean, I don't want to sit down and read 16 pages of solid words. But, I mean, I do. Every week. So I have to. But the social media, it's, 160 words? Something like that. So it's real fast and quick. But with the newspaper, we have the opportunity to get more in-depth and present. Yes, we have to be creative to keep the interest and keep people motivated to continue reading. But I think that with the newspaper, like I've always said, when I first got into this newspaper career, newspaper is a history book that is being written every week. Well, here in Dominica, every week, well, with the Chronicle. So we have archives back to 1909 when the Chronicle first was published. So it's a history book that we're writing every week. And as such, through that now, this information that we present through the papers is something that will stand the test of time. So it's the Chronicle responsibility, is print responsibility, my responsibility as the assistant manager and editor to make sure that information is presented in a way in which it cultivates people to want to read and to want to know more. And we can work in partnership with all other media outlets. We have like the social media. We can give briefs on social media, and then you come for the in-depth, the meat of the pie through the papers. So again, it's a collaborative effort on everybody, and I am willing to do my part. I hope the public is willing to do their part by utilizing the instruments that are presented to them. So the newspaper is there, and I think although it's not what it was 10 years ago or 50 years ago or 111 years ago, but it is still something that, while it is dwindling, is not something that I think that will ever really fully die, because it does have its place in society. So it's just, again, using it and manipulating it in a way in which that it can be effective to serve the purpose that it's meant to be served.
Yes, and I really like the fact that you mentioned, and I don't think I ever looked at it that way, that the newspaper is actually a collection of history and something that we can go back to, and it's being done on a weekly basis. That is important.
Because you sitting in the office, you'll be amazed how many people actually come through wanting the archives, wanting this from here and there. So it's always something that can always be referred back to. I mean, social media, the internet is always there, but like he said, it's always updating. So it's not that it's necessarily lost, but at the same time, it may take a little bit more fishing. Like he said, if you're not consistent, you kind of get pushed to the wayside. So with the paper, it plays its role, and we need to acknowledge that role, and we need to support that role. As consumers and as a provider, I need to supply the demand, but the demand also needs to be there. So I think it's a good partnership. We can get information. It's a way for schools to use the paper as to encourage their students to read. It's a collaboration. Everything is a collaboration, no matter what media platform you're on. It's a collaboration with everybody, all entities, the school system, the health system, the solid waste system. Everybody need to come together and see how we can move this vehicle forward to get things done and get people educated, get people to understand, get people motivated to see how we can best, because at the end of the day, it's not just me doing it for me or you doing it for you. It's us doing it for each other and for our future. So managing our waste is beneficial for everybody. our health depends on it. Our appearance depends on it. So anything we can do, and with the paper we can give the schematics on how things break down and how they don't break down and what are the effects of this and that and what should be done, the proper methods to get things done. So the paper does play its role, and as the Chronicle, as the spokesperson for the Chronicle, and as a person that controls the input of the paper, I am putting my support behind whatever initiatives that we need to do to get things moving. Because like I said, it's for our preservation, not just for us here in this room, not just for us of today, but for everybody now and forward. And we may have a lot of rectifying to do and a lot of corrections to do, but it's not something that's impossible. As long as we're all motivated, we're all determined to get to that point, it can be done.
Are you on social media, the Chronicle?
Unfortunately, not right now. I'm trying to get that going, but I have a lot of hurdles ahead of me.
Okay. Well, I do hope that you can get over those hurdles and get the Chronicle on social. Yes, Miss Emwa News.
Well, like I said before, I did do some thinking about the topic, and one of the ways that I felt we could definitely do more. But in the same breath, or in the same thought, I'm like, ugh, because, you know, we already have so much. And then I felt like I know all of the other media houses would say the same, that, you know, we are all understaffed. Because if we have to come up with campaigns ourselves, you know, that's extra time and so forth. However, I do think that at Emwa News, we can be advocates both negatively and positively. Negatively in showing what should not be done. So, for example, we can always do a live video of somewhere that is polluted and looking, you know, terrible. And then positively in showing, you know, the other aspect when we keep our environment clean and so forth. We can also do that in terms of, well, that's video, that's live. We can also do it in, you know, using still pictures and so forth. So I did think that we can be advocates. We can be the ones to bombard, you know, the page. However, like I said, we know that it is going to be an uphill climb. And so I think that is why it usually just falls back onto the corporation, because we know the media houses have so much to do, so much to cover. So then it's like, you know, why bother? But like I said, we can be advocates, definitely, positively and negatively.
All right. Thank you. Now, some of you would have already touched on that, but feel free to share some more information or some more specifics, if possible, in terms of the media house itself, in terms of educating the public. Now, I'm referring to things like Mr. Scotland spoke about Kyrie having a program every other Monday, the Dominica Solid Waste program every other Monday. I think there's an environmental health program as well on, but these are just a few, right? But how about other things? What other ways? Did you give some thought to other ways that you can help educate the public? So I'm talking about things like infomercials. I'm talking about things like a question and answer. I'm talking about quizzes to give away things. And what other ways do you see your particular media house assisting the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation? For example, GK, I think you can do a piece on throwing a piece of paper on the floor or putting some glitter there and probably see who would probably pass and say, let me pick that up, or catch a few people, you know, throwing things on, you know, just a little bit more creativity. So are there other ways outside of the normal ways, the radio programs and so on, that you as a media house think that you can help? Because this is important. This is very, very important to us. Waste management is very, very important to us. If it's not something that we manage, we could be in a lot of trouble. So the media, again, plays a critical role, and Abrali mentioned that as well. What are some of the other ways that you see your media house can assist. And Curtis Matthew, if you feel that we could pass a mic to you to contribute, please just come up for the front and, you can give a contribution on behalf of DBS Radio. I would appreciate that, Curtis Matthew, my mentor. Yes. All right, yes, GK, you can take the first knock on this one.
But I'm going to be very honest.
Yes.
Sometimes honesty can hurt.
All right.
Right? Yes, but sometimes the truth have to sometimes come out.
Yes.
I've besides the show that I do, I was a journalist. Mm-hmm. I was a journalist. I know some of my colleagues already knew that.
You'll always be a journalist.
I'll always be a journalist.
I am always a journalist.
Okay. But then I have experience in witnessing where the media has taken action in solid waste, educating and promoting. Right? What happened? That was years ago. Mm-hmm. We're here today, mm-hmm. trying to do what? Educate, mm-hmm. influence. Mm-hmm. No, we're here to just remind them to never stop. Why did they stop? Why do we stray from doing what we know what is right, the educating, the pushing, mm-hmm. And why did they stray to something else? Because
no, but let's stick a pin here though, Jordan. Why did they stop?
Well, that's what I was getting to.
They stopped because probably we stopped reminding them. So the education has to be, like you said earlier on, consistent.
Right, that's true. That's true. But that's for the social media to blast it out to get it even further and to get more people seen. Right? But when you come into the heart of a media personnel and their platform, where there's radio, mm-hmm. where there's newspaper, there is something even more important than consistency. It's no lie. Right? There is what they call what the people want. What do people want to hear? What do the people want to read? No, Felina, that's it. That's more important to them. I'm not saying that they're not concerned. I'm not saying that they don't think it's important, because we all think it's important. Mm-hmm. But what the people outside reading, if I write a newspaper today and the people don't read my newspaper, buy my newspaper, every week I talking about a rubbish bin that do pick up and them, and it's what the people want to see.
Agreed, but that would not be the only content of the newspaper.
Of course not.
It will just form part of the content of the newspaper.
Of course not, but that is the fact that it stopped. I think what we really need to do to go forward is to understand how, when you say it's not only part, is to understand and let them understand and know that don't stop. Mm-hmm. Yes, the people you may be feeling like they're not, but there's somebody out there, it's important for our future.
But how do you do that? That's the question. How do you use
your
platform?
How do you use my platform? How do I use my platform to tell them don't stop?
That's it.
I think they can use us, for that. They are
that's it.
As well as we have our own platforms. We can't just come and say, hey, Mr. Matthew or Mr. Charles, check me now. Let me do a little promo and put on all your newspaper. Let me do a little video and send for the social media that you guys have. It's all a matter of like coming together and discussing it and mm-hmm. having that business and that friendship mm-hmm. that togetherness. So where we have that mutual understanding of what we want to do. Mm-hmm. And if that doesn't create, mm-hmm. then nothing happens.
As I mentioned before, your What's This is very popular and people relate to it, and you do it very creatively. And I feel that platform of yours can be used once you discuss with Mr. Florian here, Rhoda, and the rest of the team. I think that you can use that platform to help bring across some of the messages.
Well, for this summer, if you want me to talk about the platform, what we're doing, this summer we're going to be doing something very big, and I think they could take advantage of it. Actually, this summer we're going to be doing what we're calling right now a tour. We're going to be doing a What's This tour. Now, a tour not meaning one day we're going everywhere in the country. The tour is going to last throughout the entire month. So it's going to be 1 week we're going to be in Senju, and then another week we're going to be in Lapland, and then another week we're going to be in Marigot. So we're just going to be each week going to go to every single village we can think of that's away from town, that's by near town, and we're going to be educating that specific village on various topics. So maybe what can happen is they can collab with us and have one of those weeks or one of those, or each village we educate them on. That's what I can think of right now.
Okay.
But that's what we have for the upcoming summer, this summer, and that's what we're going to be doing.
Okay, good stuff. Were you going to add something, Shema? Were you going to add something?
Yes, I wanted to see what everyone else can do.
Okay.
Well, I was here at the prize giving ceremony, and when I heard the jingles and I saw the posters, I felt like, so why weren't we given this to post? So these are some of the things that we can do. We can work with you guys to bring that awareness out there. We can post constantly, you know, like you had the posters and the jingles. We can do those. And we are trying to use our YouTube channel much more so we can put the songs on there as well. Another thing that we can do is the giveaways, like you mentioned, the quizzes, you know, and even... Well, this is what we can do in collaboration with Solid Waste, but even, you know, on our own, because like we said before, we are trying to make it everybody's responsibility and not just the corporation. So we have some ideas. Well, I have some ideas. Like I said, I did think this through, and like we're trying to use our YouTube channel some more so we can do our little discussions. We can have people giving talks and so forth. We can probably go to a school and have the talk being publicized, being broadcast and so forth. However, I did think as well that concurrently with any campaign, with any solid waste management campaign, should be that aspect where we get back that pride and that, she mentioned patriotism, because I don't think that somebody would be motivated to keep Dominica clean if you do not love Dominica and if you are not a patriotic Dominican. So I think all of those, any campaign has to be concurrent with that. It can't be, you know, separated from it. But there are things that we can do, and like I said, once we find the time, we will definitely be helping Solid Waste, and Solid Waste, feel free to collaborate with us at any time.
Over 30,000 followers. Is it more than that now, Emo? Over 30,000? Over what? Over 70,000 followers. That is a platform you definitely need to take advantage of. Mr. Scotland, across to you.
I tell you, you mustn't be discouraged in terms of behavior.
Yeah.
Behavior is not a thing that happens overnight. It takes time. It's like they have a something called family life education. It is actually education for life. When they're educating you not for today and tomorrow, you know, it's for like 60, 70 years later. You still have to brush your teeth. You know what I'm saying? So it's education for life. So solid waste management is an area, it's behavioral change you're looking at. You're looking at how you're going to influence behavior. These are the problems we have in the country. We have to sit down. We have to iron out how are we going to solve the problem. We have a number of stakeholders. You have a whole set of media houses. Now we have social media. You have your print media. You have the mass radio, television. You call your cultural groups together. They can bring their act on it too. The cultural people can come up with songs and things to influence people even better than a lot of people. The musicians outside, they will take them in, bring them people in, make songs that will get people to understand the importance of keeping the environment clean. So it's a whole stakeholders approach to solve the problem, not a one-man approach.
But let's zero into your media house. How?
My media house?
Yes.
IVFM. Steve Vidal is there so he can
wait, the program director is here, so if he chooses to share some comments, we have no issues, Mr. Vidal. Don't be a coward like Mr. Matthew over there. My good friend, that's my guy. Well, he's staying in the back seat today.
I don't think he's a coward.
Not well, probably wrong use of the word.
I don't think he's a coward. He's not.
Yes, good evening to all. And Mr. Scotland pointed out of some of the things that we are already doing. And while I was sitting here, I just, we have a close relationship, we members of the media, with the artists, you know, the Triple Ks and, you know,
the guys. We have a close relationship with them. And we hear them make jingles. Why don't we use the opportunity to have them do jingles, and we can play those at the top of our popular programs on the radio. All stations have their popular programs. The same way the government asked the media to collaborate with them to help send the message of the COVID out. And the numbers have increased, the number of people who have been receiving the vaccines, right? And it has worked. It is working. We can do the same thing, because when you talk about garbage disposal, it affects our health. If we don't have a healthy environment, a healthy people, it makes no sense, right? And the recent function that was held here, you're correct. Give that to us. Let us run with the music. Run with the, put them before our popular DJs who come on, our Snows and our Medians and all the other popular DJs. Let them start their shows at least with one or two of the songs, you know? And the posters, let's put them on our Facebook pages. You know, those of us who sell ads on the radio, you know, we sell ads on our websites. Let's put some of those posters, because people like to see the creativity of our children. Let us use those, you know. And right before our morning news, you know, our notice board, keep the, whatever it is, we want to, you know, Rhoda, you're a media person, those little liners, one-liners and slogans, you know, keep the environment clean. And let's visit the solid waste, the landfill, you know, and go into town and take a few video shots, you know, and pictures of people probably littering, and come back and produce that and bring out the positive aspect of it.
Steve, while you're at the mic, so you've made some suggestions, you've given some ideas. Are we talking about doing all of this complimentary, or would you be looking for
I think the government too can, when the budget is called, pump some more money, you know, something extra to take care of that aspect.
Okay.
Because you're talking about health. Who doesn't care about the health? You know, people spend millions of dollars on cancer and everything else. Let us spend on the environment, to protect the environment, you know, and...
especially as we speak about a healthy nation.
Exactly, in this COVID pandemic.
Correct. Thank you, Steve.
That's the important part. We spend a lot of money on curing people in Dominica. Emphasis has to be on prevention. That's what they call preventive medicine. You put a system in place to prevent you from getting sick. So it go back to the whole concept of chronic disease and non-communicable and communicable diseases. So you have diabetes, you have hypertension, really clean our nation. These are diseases that are preventable, but it comes from a lifestyle that you have to start inculcating from young. From you 8, 9, 10 years, going with your diet, exercising, and that is the way you're going to prevent it. So as all these things come back to prevention. And more emphasis really should be placed on preventive medicine rather than you get people sick, then you try to cure them. That's where the dilemma is.
Okay. My next question is going to focus a bit on the Dominica Solid Waste management. And what I want to ask you, members of the media, is how can the Dominica Management Solid Waste Corporation help you to help them? Who's going to take that one? Aberly? Aberly, I didn't ask you really the last question because you had already mentioned. If you want to add, that's okay in terms of the last question, but feel free to tackle this one as well.
Yeah, well, how we can partner with solid waste is with the paper. I think most people are familiar with like our activity pages. So we have an activity page and a kids page. Actually, some of the puzzles, I actually do them myself. I generate them myself.
Nice.
So different topics, so different things. We can do different like story writing. We can have a essay competition or any other little thing to get people involved. Read the activity page. Like I said, we can do like different crosswords and different activities on there. We can do fill in the blanks. We have the did you know? So we can do some different facts in that. I appreciate feelers. I do.
Okay.
Because fillers are the small little taglines or stuff just to fill off a page.
Right.
Because you have those so either you have to blow up the print or, stuff like that. So sometimes a filler comes in very handy. So it's just different things that are beneficial for both parties. So a filler is beneficial for both parties. That we can do to help get the message across.
And I'm also thinking, as you're speaking, the teachers, for example, can then use the newspapers, the activities in there, and the puzzles, bring it to the classroom, and have the students engage and practice.
That is something I've always been interested in trying to get started, like with the Ministry of Health, with the syllabus, is, again, trying to get the youth, we're coming back to the youth, trying to get the youth involved in reading. So if the teachers say, hey, we're doing this on topic X, then we can prepare that, whether it's a short piece or something, and then you assign a homework assignment, and they go to the paper. They have to read that, at least that section of the paper. Now that it's in the home, maybe it'll get the habit of it being there and get used. So it's, again, it's a collaboration of everybody at all ages and all stages. We have to do our part.
Okay, while you have the mic, how do you think the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation can help you to help them get their message across?
Well, it's providing the information. If we know we have a campaign or we just need a reminder, is provide the information. And the thing is, we're all in media, and in a sense, we're all competitors. But at the same time, we're there to do a job, and our job, our significance is greater than our competition. So we need to collaborate with each other and provide the information, exchange the information. And there is nothing wrong with DBS running a clip on something and we running a mass on it. There's nothing wrong with Imo News and Chronicle, or Imo News and Mr. Jordan down here collaborating on something. And I think that is something off topic, but I think that is something that we need to appreciate and something that we need to recognize and something that we need to really give some attention. Yes, we're competitors. We're all there at the end of the day to make our profits, to make our living. But at the end of the day, our biggest service is to the people, is to get the information out. And if I have this information, I'm keeping it to myself. My readership, my customers, are they really good? Even if they all implement it, is it going to make that significant of a difference? So we all need to collaborate together. Yes, we're competitors. Yes, it's a dog-eat-dog world, but we have to recognize and realize and appreciate that all of this is bigger than me and bigger than you. It all comes down to the collaboration and the understanding of what our mission is.
Shama? Yes.
Well, for us, really, I think that's very easy. We are always willing. You can, I mean, Emo is right there. Like you said, you wonder how she gets everywhere. I know Emo News is always willing to broadcast. We are always willing. So Solid Waste, they should be really easy. I just mentioned the jingles, I mentioned the posters. These are things we are willing to broadcast. In addition to that, we are always willing to do lives. So we would be willing to do a live right over at Solid Waste, take us through the facility, take us somewhere that is a litter problem, a problem area with littering. We are always willing to do those things. However, we are not able to always do those things complimentary, so I think that's where the problem comes. In addition to that, I have met Mr. Mitchell and told him, I've been calling your office, trying to get a statement. I remember when there was the white campaign very recently, the one where we were trying to get a certain amount of cars off the road. Yeah, and I was trying to get an update on that. I tried.
Well,
so this is how Solid Waste can, embrace us.
Sometimes the managers are a little more difficult to find, but now there's a public relations officer, and she's very accessible, so I don't think you should encounter any difficulty
so
going forward. So
definitely, Ms. John, always give us the updates. You know, we're willing to run the stories. We are very willing.
All right, Mr. Scotland, you used to be a head at the same organization. How do you think that, sitting in a different seat right now, how do you think that this Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation can help you to help them?
So with what I think they can do is to develop like radio spots that they make it easier for the radio station to, if you develop the spots, they can now just maybe edit it properly. You have a PRO, they can run the spots. So I think it would be easier that way if you can actually develop them spots. Keep them money. so no, well, they can actually work. You have to work with the radio station. There's a thing they call PSCs, public service announcements. Not every time you run it is money you got to charge the organization. Some of it should be pro bono, because it's really for the good of the whole nation.
For the public's interest.
So we would say that basically develop some PSCs and also provide technical persons for discussions on these radio stations. So sometimes it's good that you can actually identify people that can do that work, and you can really bring them to the radio station. And so the radio station has sometimes looking for some way to actually do the work, but because of the lack of the technical capacity of the person to do that work, not everybody like go and talk on radio. So you have to identify people that can push the work for you. The other area I was saying, in the print media, you can actually, I think we need to be running a constant story in print, especially more like the News Chronicle, on issues of environment in Dominica. Because remember, Dominica, it prides itself as a nature island of the Caribbean, and I'm really extended to the world. So we have to be constantly pumping that information out there to the population. I think the New Chronicle is a good idea. I was thinking of doing some research on 100 years of public life in Dominica. I went to the archives in the one by ministry, what do you call it? Documentation Center. I can hardly get information there. So I don't know if your archives, I say, as you mentioned, the archives of Chronicle, I say, oh, maybe they just might have a lot of information in there that I can cover a whole heap of things that happened over the whole century.
Yes, 111 years.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
He said that might be an area to study, because I look at what happened before and look at what happened now. You know, so we have to go back in history. I like a historian. I like history. So these are some of the things that I think service can do. Work with them, and maybe service have to actually try to identify one of the areas I find we had shortcoming there was the budget for PR, the public relations budget, education. That is an area that we maybe need to strengthen there.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Jordan, how do you think that the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation can help you to help them?
I sit down there and I thinking hard. I mean, it's quite obvious when it comes to my show, Patronize the Show. We have a lot of packages where we promote a lot of stuff. So you can talk to me after. We can patronize my show. But where I see a real help is social media. Like I said, come to me. Let me educate. Let me even manage at first. You know, some social media platforms for you guys, because social media today, honestly, is one of the most powerful promoting place right now to promote anything. You get to touch, you get to talk to like everybody. You know, everybody has social media now. You know, and it's very easy to reach out. If you have no idea how to use it, I educate, like Foda said, I help her. I can even do it for you guys because I'm a freelancer, I have a lot of time. You can talk to me. You can hire me to just manage social media pages for you guys, or just educate, and you guys can go ahead and do it yourselves. And trust me, if you go onto social media right now in this day of aging, especially in Dominica, oh boy, your information, any information, once you do it right, it gets there.
It goes viral.
It gets it.
Right. So clearly, what I'm hearing here is that the members of the media are willing to help. They're willing to go the extra mile. They're willing to provide some complimentary and some free services. But the bottom line is that, you know, funding is required to achieve what it is that you set it out to achieve with your public awareness campaigns. So you may have to ask for some money and to see how, you know, you can execute some of the things that the panelists have mentioned here this evening. And that brings me to the Dominica Management Solid Waste Corporation and what they're currently doing. What do you think about what they're currently doing, and do you have any advice for them in terms of improvement? So we know there are trucks scheduled, you know, pickup days, pickup times. Do you think that they're doing a good job in their scheduling, in getting the messages out to the public? I don't know if I don't listen, but I don't think I've heard a pickup, a scheduling announcement in a while.
I'm about to say that because I was about to say I don't.
No money again, brother? Yes. Every day it's on Kyrie.
Amen.
Is it only on Kyrie? Is it that Kyrie is providing it free of charge? Something like that. All right. But yes. So that is a question for you. So for example, here we are. The scheduling announcement is only on Kyrie. It should be everywhere else, you know, if you're trying to, because Kyrie has its listeners, but there's DBS, there's Vibes, there's Q. Well, you didn't exactly say if it was
say someone. You said someone, you know.
Like
it's so the way that we listen,
we're not
you know.
looking for details of your arrangements. But yes, panelists, you know, what do you think?
Thank God for my mother.
You're listening to Kyrie FM, and just to let you know that we have a statement by the Honorable Minister Dr. Irving McIntyre, and we do invite you to stay tuned for that coming up at 8:30 in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Did you say in the morning, 7 o'clock? Every morning. At what time? Right, so most of us, well, we hardly wake up at that time, unless we, you know, we wake up at 5 to 8 to go work for 8 o'clock. So that's just how we are. It's just the youth, you know. We stay up late. TikTok keeps us up, right? So thank God, like I said, for my parents, because you know, you can see the adults had it different. They had to learn that, even if it is by force, because if you leave your rubbish there, you know that smelling in the yard, right? So.
Just a reminder, listeners, we apologize for having to interrupt tonight's broadcast, but we have to bring you these important statements by the Minister of Health, Dr. Irving McIntyre, coming up at 8:30 tonight. It's just about 5 or 6 minutes, and we resume our panel discussion right after. And at the same time, we want to thank the producer of Live Your Life with Olivia. Thanks for allowing the broadcast to go through. We will bring the program at 9 o'clock tonight, straight from the USA.
We know that every village has a specific time,
yes.
and there's something going on in the morning, sometime in the night. You know, I feel like if we go about like just letting the public know that, and not just the rubbish, but you know, other ways of means of promoting it.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you feel you would like to give some input on that particular topic, you're welcome. So you're welcome to join us if you wish. Take the mic and share with us on that particular topic, because I think that's an important one. So for example, scheduling, is it consistent? So do I know if I live in Pishley that every Thursday my garbage is going to be collected at 6 p.m. and I know that. So you may not need to put out the announcements necessarily. So, you know, that kind of thing.
Well,
especially if you're new and you just come and live in a village. You have to go and ask your neighbor, or something. But sorry, you wanted to say?
Yes, I wanted to add to this aspect because I have lived quite a few places in Dominica. So I grew up in Lago Portsmouth, and I remember very well when they moved from the skip to the collection of garbage, and it was not consistent.
Right.
Now, this is back in the day. So then, after a while because I think it was on Monday. So then, after a while, we figured it out. And then it was just not consistent. I moved to Woodford Hill, and we had the same issue. We had the same issue where we put out our garbage. We know it came on a Wednesday. We put out our garbage on the Wednesday, and we came back, and it's still there. So after a while, it gets frustrating. Now I live in another place, and we're having the same issue. It is a Wednesday, and then they just moved it. Well, let me not say they, but it was just moved. All of a sudden it became, I don't even know what day it became, but then we heard that, the truck has some issue that day, so then the guy just decided to help us out on the Tuesday, but then we didn't know the Tuesday. So I do think that scheduling is an issue, and, like we always say, we have to give and take. So in cases where, the trucks have issue or whatever, then the information needs to get out there.
And that's where the media comes in.
Yes.
Right.
She's right, Philan, because at one point, at 5 o'clock in the morning, I waking up and I hear the truck. But no, that truck coming 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and I have to come over early now.
Well, that's where Mr. Waste Diversion comes in. Are you going to share with us at all? Yes?
We now invite you to stay tuned for an address by Dominica's Minister of Health, Dr. Irvin McIntyre, and that's with the approval there of the Solid Waste Management Corporation. They have allowed us to air these statements. Thanks again to the Solid Waste Corporation.
Businesses and hotels, restaurants, public sector, private sector. If we need to manage our garbage properly. As it has been said, waste is everybody's responsibility. And people have to take ownership of their waste. They generate their waste, therefore they have to take responsibility in managing their waste. Solid waste offer a service to the householders, but businesses are responsible for their waste. They can hire solid waste to do it, but they are solely responsible in managing their waste. That's why I want to share. And as they said about creative ways in doing that, yes, we developed a song for our campaign. We have a theme song, and we like to see the radio station and the media houses push that. So we can give to them and play it before the event finish, so that the people can hear it, so that they can see that, yes, when it comes to creativity, solid waste is in a business and they have talent in their working, and that is very important to use what we have and to partner, because Dominica is everybody own. It's all of us make up Dominica, and it's important for the media to support, because the news that they bring out there can change lives. We may not see it in our generation, but if we start with the younger ones, there will be a difference.
Definitely agreed on that. And Mr. Mitchell, are you going to assist us with the scheduling?
Yeah, collections is very dear to me. So whenever I hear anything about collection, I will always say something about it.
Right.
Yes, in recent years, I must acknowledge we had serious challenges with fleet and our collections system. But to me, in the last year or more, we have seen a significant improvement on our efficiency. I mean, that is just a plus. Generally, our collection system runs once weekly, twice weekly, 3 times weekly. So if you are living in an area, as my friend said, probably doesn't know, he's young. But if you live in an area in your collection, twice weekly, if it's a Monday, generally it will be Monday and Thursday. If it's once weekly, if it's a Wednesday, it will be Wednesday. If it's twice weekly, it's a Tuesday, it will be Tuesday and Friday. So that is basically a general rule and a principle of waste collection services in Dominica. I understand you. We probably need to consider, not probably, we need to consider using more platforms in informing the public in terms of our collection schedule. But that is not to say that if we have an issue, and we hear that there is a problem or we notice that there is a problem, we need to inform ourselves as citizens. If we're moving into a community, we need to ask questions. We don't just put our garbage out and just decide somebody's going to pick it up. I mean, as a people, we need to be conscientious of what we are doing and the effects of the same. So the same way you need to know where your health center is, the same way you need to know if you're moving, where the bank is, you're going to put your money or you're going to do those transactions, you need to inform yourself as to where can I put, how can I put, and what can I put out? And that is just general, basic principle of those of us who inhabit this island called Dominica. But I understand years back we had some serious challenges, and I must say kudos. As you can see, we have some brand new GAs, brand new TNs, and it has significantly assisted us. Not to say that you're not going to have problems.
Yes.
And I say to people that you pay your water bill. I pay my water, well, I don't use water because I live off-grid, but I pay my light. And there are times you're going to have disruption in your services. And you have your ATM, you have $100,000 in the bank, and it's not working, and you just cannot access the money. And we need to understand that and be conscious that with waste management, you're going to have issues with the disruption of your service at any point in time. And sometimes you might have an issue overnight, and I cannot inform you at 2 o'clock in the morning that a truck is not going to come. Sometimes it's not practical to inform you at that time. And those things happen. And while we're there, I just want to appeal on the general public too, to be mindful that the trucks that we operate, they are big, they are long. And most times, if you collect overnight, it's better. The guys are not open to the sun. So if you're collecting garbage during the sun, the smell and everything, the fatigue on the guys. So most times we try to collect as practical as possible in the evening. So if we go 11 o'clock,
and the early morning,
you put your garbage out in terms of the dog getting to it, and the time we get to it, we cut that out. So it's better for us late night, early morning. And some of the challenges we're experiencing, people park, then we cannot access it, then tomorrow they come and say, oh, the garbage truck did not pass. But if all guys venture there, it's going to cause damages to your vehicle. A long story, somebody have to pay the damages. So just to be more aware that it's a collaborative effort, and we are constantly seeking to improve on the efficiency of our service. So if you see we are changing, so for example, in years past, we'll probably come in Canefield. In the morning Friday, we figure it's a bit more efficient to collect late Thursday night, because if you go 11 o'clock in the night, by the time it's 12 o'clock, it's already Friday morning. So it's better you put that garbage out. We come in the night, Thursday night, which is Friday morning. By the time you get out your bed, there is no garbage in your bin. You didn't see anybody to mess you up or say some negative things to you, and your waste is collected on time. And at the end of the day, when you go out in the morning, there is nothing, there is no truck, there is no smell, there is nothing. And those are some of the things that we're trying to do in terms of the efficiency. But in any system, you're going to have challenges, you're going to have breakdown, and the whole question about the service that we're offering, should we now charge you 10 cents for the service that we're offering? Because it is a service.
Yes.
And yes, to maintain the trucks, to give you bins, do all those activities, it requires finances. You know, and my friend just made mention of the cost for its platform or its medium. Yes, they could offer us pro bono, but we need monies to give to you, right? So should you consider paying me some money for collecting your waste for you as well? It's just
before you end though, something I think that's very important.
You've been listening to an address by a statement by the Minister of Health, Dr. Irving McIntyre. We invite you to join us tomorrow morning where you'll hear more of this from Dr. McIntyre. We now resume our broadcast here from the University of the West Indies, where the General Manager of the Solid Waste Corporation, Florian Mitchell, is addressing the audience.
A smartphone, a decent smartphone, my friend, is 2,500, right? A decent smartphone should be 2,500, nothing lower than that. A garbage bin is under $300. Depends on the bin that you want to invest in. So from a public health standpoint, am I making the connection as to the importance of storing my waste? I'm not saying that you should not have your smartphone, but then when we look at the health implications, I spend $2,500 on a smartphone, and I have a whole bucket outside my gate. I mean, the maths doesn't work out. So it means that somewhere along the line, the connection, as to the importance of that item that I'm disposing of, we have not picked it up mentally yet. And that is a disparity we have where waste management is concerned. We do not have to wait on the waste management authority to purchase a bin for you. And that's what I was saying. If you give me $15, I can give you a bin every 3 years, because I'm sure that I can provide you with the essential apparatus that you need. And one of the things that we have done, we are looking for, we have sought grant funding to develop and purchase bins across the island. So we'll be doing a Kalinago Zero Waste project that will be implementing bin in the Kalinago territory. We're doing another project with NAO that we're simply doing in Roseau. The government of Dominica has given us money to purchase bins and make bins available. So we are doing a lot of those activities. So within the first quarter of the new fiscal period, you're going to see a lot of bins being rolled out in the community.
Nice.
But that doesn't say that you, as an individual, cannot purchase a bin. I mean, you can go to different hardwares in Dominica, and you can purchase a bin and buy a proper bin. And one of the things that we're seeking to do in going forward is to, again, have policies in place. We are going to say probably in the next fiscal period, not next fiscal period, but next year, we're thinking no work with BR standards. Are we going to say we're not going to pick up your garbage if it's in a bucket? It needs to be in a bin. And if we're improving, those are the kind of things that we want to be able to implement. And again, to be able to get the public to be aware that unit policy, a bin, a bucket is not a proper apparatus to collect a bin. No. If we're using a truck, or some of our trucks, they have bin lift system at the back, we can't use a bucket. And then we put 200 pounds in a garbage bag. Should a footman lift 200 pounds of garbage? No. Can we regulate it to be 50 pounds? And so those are some of the things that we'll be looking to do to help with the collection aspect as well.
Thank you for your contribution, Mr. Mitchell. Definitely appreciated. We can continue with the questions, but members of the media, do you have questions for your members of the media on the panel here this evening? Any questions from you? No questions? It's okay. You'll get a chance, my darling. Just a sec. No questions from the media present. Okay. All right. Well, we'll go back to our table. Ms. Schumer from DNO, from MO News, you wanted to add something?
I wanted to add from before that the collection of white goods doesn't seem to be problematic. I wanted to give them kudos on that. You usually see the white goods all over. Although one time I heard, I think it was Mr. Mitchell say that this and this was not white goods. Don't put it out by the road. However, I think the collection of white goods, it is being publicized effectively. And I think the public has been responding well. And he mentioned about paying for collection, but wasn't that, when it was introduced, wasn't that part of the deal? I think it was, I heard something about a $10 underwater bill. Oh, it was voluntary. I remember something about that. Maybe it wasn't implemented, but I remember, or maybe it was just talk as well. However, if I were to pay for it, I would need it to be consistent. And I think I'll be speaking for everybody. Because sometimes I say, if the truck can come, then just hire one of the dumpers or, something. But let's keep it Wednesday morning.
So that leads me to ask, do you think that probably a fee should be included for the garbage collection? Is that something you think that you would pay? And is it something that you would recommend?
I would recommend that because collection in Dominica, remember Dominica is a 300 square mile island. It's a big island. It has got much people, but the people are spread all over. And when you have to collect, it will cost you a lot of money to go in and out. But I think we should tie collection with, because the concept I already had in my head for start with. The idea of organic waste. All the organic waste that come into that landfill here in Pokole should stay where it is in the countryside. I think the countryside, they send too much organic waste in their waste to the landfill. They have enough space around their yard and backyard and land around them
to turn that into compost.
And I presume you're referring here to peels of bananas, dashing, and so on.
Yo, hold the la pommage. That's the part. Anyway, basically we say that if in other words, in Cassibrus, why should somebody from Cassibrus be put in their organic waste, their peels, their dashing, their banana peeling, grass they cut in your waste to take the roso? So if we separate the waste at source, so what is one of the strongest things we have to do is promote the concept of waste separation, especially in the countryside. And so we could easily collect garbage here less than the amount of time they go in there. So the collection can be done if it's once a month to just take out your non-biodegradables. That's your tins, your bottles, and your plastic. The other waste can actually be harnessed and converted into compost. So collection is an area that we have to review. The strategy for waste management has to be reviewed. Basically, I think you need a compost landfill. All the organic waste should just be going to composting. If it's around the island, in other words, we could have 3 or 4 different big composters around the island, just capturing that waste, convert that into fertilizer, organic fertilizer, and you sell it as making money. So it's a lot of rethinking, and it will take a lot of working together with communities to get it done. Because the concept of the island is, we have to start thinking of that concept. Turn it into an organic island.
Oh, we're happy to have you here, Mr. Mitchell, to respond.
Yeah, I would just like to respond to my former boss, Mr. Scotland. Again, we have recognized that, and that is why we are launching, or we will be launching the Kalinago Zero Waste project. And that is being done with financing from the RIMLIT project. And bins for residential waste, general waste, then we'll also be having bins for your recycle. And another component is to have a compost facility built in the Kalinago territory. And we're thinking of the scope. The scope would be basically for not just Kalinago, because when we analyze the amount of organic contents, to make it viable, you need to open up to the communities. So Cassibrus, all that whole coast, would be able to open up that facility for them. And again, the Ministry of Environment, again looking at another concept for the Soufriere area, trying to do a compost facility in Soufriere to take all that organic content in that area and promote that whole idea of compost. If you notice, there is a nursery in Soufriere. It would tie into that project. So we've been having discussion with the Ministry of Environment, NEP, and Solid Waste for the Soufriere project. But as part of the RIMLIT project, again, what we're promoting is a zero waste territory. And in the new fiscal period, I don't want to put out things, but I think a material recovery facility should be built to help, again, on the whole waste diversion in terms of pulling out all the recyclable material from the general waste that could be exported and then generate some revenue for the corporation. So that is a project that we're very keen on implementing, and it will help, again, promote a zero waste zone, and that will be replicated in other communities along the island.
You just got some news here as well. Before you leave, I am not going to bring you back again, but before you leave, just give us your synopsis of, because we're going to start wrapping up, of the media people represented here today and what you thought about their contributions. Are there any takeaways for you? Anything that you think that you can take and make happen in time to come?
Yes, again, thanks to everybody for being here. My friend from Imo News, she said she didn't get me. I take that very hard. I'm one of the easiest person to find. If you call me and I get a missed call or WhatsApp, I always return my call. So, and my number is 616-8170, which is a public number. That's always on. So generally, I will respond to a missed call or WhatsApp. Thank you for your intervention, young fellow, using your platform. We shall definitely speak to you in going forward. And again, one medium doesn't fit all, so we truly appreciate your intervention. Well, Scotty, we old school, so we always talk and have discussions. Our friend from the Chronicle, you really said something in terms of history. I've never saw it like that before.
Neither me.
It was something very interesting. And when I thought of it, basically you chronicle everything that happens from day to day within the state, you know? And just sitting back there and thinking, probably Rhoda and I will sit down and look at all the different mediums and see how we can craft something that you could help us in promote the issue of waste management. And my friend said consistency. And again, Rhoda and I have been talking about that, to be consistent and not just speak of an activity. I mean, we're already planning for 2022. So that's to show you we're not thinking we will not be the solution and just end here. We're thinking, what can we do in 2022? And the whole concept is to get everybody involved, and that's the approach we want to take. It's not just solid waste. Yes, it is our responsibility to collect, but there are other stakeholders who can help us in discharging our functions, and that is what we're simply trying to do. And we really thank you for your support and your interventions, and we will be engaging you on your platforms to help us push the idea. And our friend said that if you think of Dominica, the concept, sometimes we need to change. If you think you're patriotic, then you should not be doing that.
Yes.
So if we say we love Dominica, there are things that you should not be doing at all. And for us to constantly be reminding, it means that, I mean, your friend said something about sexy, and that is where creativity comes in. We need to make waste management sexy, and that is something I've been talking to Rhoda about. It needs to be sexy. I mean, we see the unpleasantness, but we need to make it sexy. We need to get the connection that people could see. It will affect my health in the long run if I do not do 5 or 6 things. And this is where we expect we can do a 20-part series with you on that. Anyways, thank you for your interventions here today.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. And we're just going to give you some time to gather your thoughts to wrap up while I just share some information here. So I did request from Rhoda some of the things that the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation has already done under the theme, Be the Solution, Stop Pollution. So there's been a schools competition, primary schools poster, and secondary schools slogan jingle, and at the college level, an essay competition, and the prize giving was held on the 24th of June right here at the UWI Auditorium. The Cleaner Mile campaign that I said before that I really, really enjoyed. Our teams came out, we got our t-shirts and everything, and we really did enjoy it. So that program, it was actually on World Environment Day, and that in itself was quite a nice activity, and I enjoyed it as well. It made for a very long day for me because that very same day was the other activity at the NDFD. So yes, but it was fun to do it all. There were 2 consultations. The first on electronic waste, where businesses dealing with electronic waste dialogue as to policy and regulations to govern this type of waste. The second was on construction waste in the same format. And just some upcoming programs. Upcycle Like a Boss, I like that, turning trash into treasure, where we will work with existing summer programs to engage the children in being creative and using the 3 R's to create either fashion or any other item. So that's where the Sexy in It Up comes up. An exhibition will be held on the 30th of August, where the winner will receive a grand prize of $1,500. CED, Community Environment Development, where you will focus on the community of Newtown, Charlottesville, and turn walls into environmental murals to develop the community using the schools, churches, leaders, and, well, schools there twice, but yes, schools. We will continue the panel discussion each month on various topics to educate the general public. That's pretty good. And you've begun a radio program on Kyrie FM called Your Waste and You, and we'll launch a TV program in October. So good job so far, Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation, and I hope that going forward, as long as you're able, you will engage these lovely people here in assisting you and pushing your messages. As we get ready to wrap things up here, we are going to take final comments from everyone, and we begin with Jordan. Let's begin with you.
Thank you for having me here today, guys. I really appreciate the opportunity to express my opinion on this matter. I do have one thing to say. As you said, the 3 R's. I actually remember assisting a few students, with my field of work, where you guys allow them to partake in practice in was it SMP, I believe, and they had to use those free hours. They had to make little videos and put it on social media. That was really nice. That was when I actually had to help them. I actually learned about the free hours then. So that was actually good. So it's recycle, reuse, and reduce, recycle, reuse, right? And I think that was good. And if that could be done way more, and in other schools, that would be really nice. And let them make videos and put it on social media. That is a way of doing it. But thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate this, and I look forward to working with you guys.
Yes, you can go ahead, Mr. Scotland.
Yeah, well, that'd be nice again. When I was today, I had to do a research on this topic because I like to research things when I come to a discussion. And I say, but there's a lot of things that we have done in Dominica over the years. And the later act, I think it was an act that was, although it was enacted about 1992, I have not seen it, the benefits of that act. So we need to, I always like to emphasize the importance of enforcement of laws. One of the areas I think that need attention on that act is the derelict vehicles in the communities. We still have too many derelicts spread all over the island, and the owners of these derelicts, they figure it's the government responsibility to take their derelict to the landfill. The responsibility is their own. And I think probably the time has come when we need to strengthen that arm of solid waste, which is the monitoring arm. We used to have a group of people, we call them authorized officers. Their job was to monitor, to see what's happening in the environment. Because I don't think for solid waste to be effective, you must have education and the enforcement of the laws and the services that they provide. These three components must go together. If there is no enforcement, then we just have to be flagging the laws. Okay. And I hope that another proposal is that at least $10 to be charged for the householders as contribution to collection.
A month, sir?
A month. And that can be placed on your water bill. I mean, water is government. So water can collect that money for solid waste, and that could go towards the maintenance of the collection system. That's where your problem does be. Having adequate amount of vehicles to do that work.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Aberly?
Well, it's been a lovely evening here with everybody, exchanging views and opinions. And I think that we have started a movement on getting things done. Again, it's just for us to all collaborate together. And we at the Chronicle look forward to partnering with you in whatever way we can. Beneficial for both parties. So I think that we've definitely set a way forward for not just us here, but for everyone moving forward. So thank you for having us, and I greatly appreciate the exchange of information.
Thank you.
So I remembered going to an office recently, and then I saw a stack of papers. And I thought to myself, I said, but we didn't have a Going Green campaign. Dominica wasn't going green. Because sometimes I see so many times we use paper in ways that we shouldn't be using paper. You know, like you go to the ATM. Well, I don't take the paper receipt because, I just see it on the screen. And I'm saying that to say sometimes we have a lot of good ideas, but then it comes to, the execution. So I want to congratulate Solid Waste on what you have been doing so far. And we look forward to partnering with you to actually execute what we have said this evening. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And before we wrap up, the staff are listening or viewing. So we just have to say hi and hello to the staff of the Dominica Management Solid Waste Corporation. To the panelists, thank you very much for being here this evening and for sharing your views, your opinions, and how you can recommend that the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation takes advantage of what you can offer in terms of message sharing and information and knowledge as well. Thank you for the opportunity to do this evening as well, Rhoda and Mr. Mitchell. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it this evening. And should I say feel free to call on me again if you need to? Should I say that? Thank you, the members of the media, for being here this evening, everyone who was live and everyone who simply recorded for news the next morning. I look forward to hearing something on the news tomorrow morning. I know that my good friend Curtis Matthew is going to go back to the studio and put his story together, the newsroom. So guys, thank you. And thank you to our viewers and our listeners for joining us this evening for this panel discussion where we shared with the media on the topic of the role of the media in helping raise awareness and educating the public on waste management. As mentioned, there will be other panel discussions to come, so please ensure that you tune in through whichever media that you choose to view or to listen. Have a good night, everyone, and thank you again.
Yes, thank you very much for Diana Frampton, our media colleague. This place filled with media, members of the media, and we thank you again for watching and for listening. We do invite you to stay tuned now for Live Life with Olivia, and that's Olivia Williams Odeleke, our first program tonight on the Genuine Sound of Dominica, which should have been aired at 7 o'clock, but due to this broadcast here, this panel discussion at UE, Olivia has agreed to put the program on to 9 o'clock tonight. So pleasant listening, everyone, but don't forget, next Monday and thereon, we will be airing the program at 7 o'clock. I am Steve Vidal on behalf of my technician, Yipman Bruno, and our camera operator, that's Frankie Bella Jr., saying good night and thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.